Hey, beautiful people, top of the day. Hey, beautiful people. All right, beautiful people. Happy Friday, everybody. Sorry for the tardiness. I just needed a few more minutes to pull myself together this morning because I ain't go to bed till like almost 4. Getting all this last minute packing done, making sure the house is straight before we leave. We'll be leaving shortly after I get done with the video this morning. So, just don't want to come home to a messy house. Everything real well. All right. Shebrew, all praises to the creator, sis. Set apart, Shalom, Kendrick, Anita, Vinette, Belinda Brown, Global Purpose, Hannah, Mom, hey girls, hey, Elijah, Shalom, brother, and anybody else here in the background. All right, y'all, so let's get this thing popping. All right, today it is Friday, September the 2nd, 2022, day 202 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1220. It's a bunch of twos in today. Today, the 2nd of the year, 222, day 202, day 1220. And we're picking up today on page 546 in Oahspe, book of Safa. And we are starting with, nope, yes, Tablet of Key, K-I-I. All right. Father, you are the never-ending well. And even though sometimes we may run on empty, you never do. Thank you for that. All right, beautiful people. All right, so let's get started. Page 546, Tablet of Key. This is plate 80. It says Key, ceremonial tablet. This tablet and ceremonies belong to Persia, Arabia, and Hellas, Greece, and Troy, and to the Algonquin tribes. The time was 5,200 years before Cosmogony. Hold on. I'll show y'all this tablet right here. This plate right here. A bunch of symbols inside of this as well. Look at that one. That's for Facebook. All right, YouTube, take a gander at it. I'm going to take a picture. If you got the book, you can see it very well. Okay. All right. So interpret it, read it thus. And there's a bunch of symbols that we've already seen before. Some are very new. I see the coffin, axe head, the compass and the square. You see the serpent, swords crossing one another, crescent, star, the rose, a hand, the upside down heart. All right. Okay. So this has the reading of the entire tablet referred to the revealed tablets. Signs. Okay. Let's just read through it. Okay. Interpreted readeth thus. Master, what seest thou? Initiate. The world lieth before me, yea, the wide earth and all its riches, the living things upon it, and in the waters, and every breathing thing, and pearls and diamonds, and gold and silver, and at my hand the rose and the lily, adorned by the hand of Elohim. Master, seest thou nothing more? Initiate, yea, Master, the canopy of the firmament of heaven. Oh, yeah, that was that. I didn't say that, but like you see in a globe, it's like a half globe, and you see this whole background with the water, trees, and the sun and the stars up in a firmament and a darkened sky. Okay. Master, seest thou nothing more? Initiate, yea, Master, the canopy of the firmament of heaven, in the midst thereof the light, burning sun, propeller of the vegetable world, the glory of day and maker of light. On either hand, in the vault of the firmament, countless stars, saying, in the glory of our magnitude, O man, forget not him whose finger upraised the firmament. Master, what more beholdest thou? Initiate, the moon who changeth her size and place according to the night watch of the gods who minister to the wants of mortals. Master, is this all? Initiate, nay, Master, on either side, I behold a hand, one pointing upward and one downward. One side of the world is all light, and one side all black. And the hand that pointeth upward is on the light side, and the hand that pointeth downward is on the dark side. Here lieth the brush that wrote, and the sacred gowl, and above them the symbol of the burning candles of the ancients. Above these, I behold the ark of the prophecy. What's the burning candles? Candles, candles, candles. Y'all see the burning candles? Because what I'm really looking for is the Ark of Prophecy. Hand upward, downward, that. I might have to look for it later. If y'all find it, let me know. Just say the Ark of Prophecy is above the whatever in the picture, if you find it. Okay, let's see. One side of the world is all light, and one side all black, and the hand that pointeth upward is on the light side. The hand that pointeth downward is on the dark side. Here lieth the brush that wrote, and the sacred gowl, and above them the symbol of the burning candles of the ancients. Above these I behold the ark of the prophecy. Master, why haltest thou in thy speech? What seest thou? Initiate, alas, O Master, above the world I behold an evil foot, black and clothed with serpents. Above the twin swords cross, the sacred name Elohim. Okay, I see that. Master, what seest thou in the middle of the tablet? Black and as with a net woven around it. Okay, look like a sun with a net around it. Initiate, a new corporal world, rich in growing things, sprung from the surface thereof, hang the sacred signs of holy lords and gods, appointed by the Most High Elohim, appraised and guarding over the morning and evening of the first days. Here the trumpet calleth to the low earth and to the spirits of mortals now dead to come forth, inspiring teachers and all useful labors to the new world above. Fabric woven in the firmament of heaven is descending into the, fabric woven in the firmament of heaven is descending to the infant Asu. Thirsting for a kingdom in the lower heaven, standeth begone God, the tyrant of newborn spirits in the lower heavens, watching the new earth. He's like, oh, we ready to jump on a new one. His tablet is a coffin. His tablet is a coffin filled with serpents' tongues. In his footpath, millions of dead that sang his name to make him triumphant over Elohim creep, accursing him in high heaven. The pyramids, the temples of ancient saviors, and the overflowing holy basin and lighted Nabu, candlestick of holy sacrifice, and the black claw, the Aramaeus, the devil, are cast down and gone, yea, on the earth Yea, on the earth below another God is dead. But high up in the firmament, the seven sacred stars still shine, and the emblems graven by the Great Spirit. Master, what are the working tools of man born of woman? What of the gods and angels beside Elohim? Initiate, alas, O Master, I know not. My friend, since thou art learned in Gal, why comest thou to learn the signs and ceremonies of the ancients? That I may unite myself with other men, and that I may unite myself with other men, and thus become a greater power to do good unto mortals. Thou art wise. Repair now before my proper officers for further examination, and if thou art proficient, come again before me, and I will conduct thee into the chamber of Ophrah or Jihad, and there initiate thee according to the rite of the ancients. Signs and passwords and mystic ceremony withheld from publication. For the reading of the tablet entire, refer to the revealed tablets. Okay. So remember, this is the same initiate from yesterday, right? Who was tested on the prophet's will or the will of the Great Spirit, who lived, who was unhooked by hands unseen. He got down off of there, right? And then they further tested him. Let's see, okay, because we can't reveal the secrets to everybody. Why you go to the next test, right? Might as well say he tried to boil him, right? The fire didn't phase him. He of his own volition took his hand and stuck it down in the fire under him that they set when they tied him up. What happened? Nothing. It was like he turned his body into the flame, and they just blazed bright, right? The fire didn't kill him. And so going through all this initiation, it was like, okay, dude, all right, this might truly be a holy man here, right? Because if you're truly holy, none of these things would touch you, right? And if you're walking how you should and learning all the lessons, doing your homework, you will pass all these tests. You won't even be afraid to go take these tests, like the two-stepping backsliding prophets want to give you prophecy for a little bit of change. They may not even give you a little bit of change. They may just want a little bit of fame. Tiffany, Sawubona, yeah. No break for Sabbath this week? Yes. It is. We just came off of Sabbath. Friday. We have a new Sabbath, right? I just had to check myself. I'm like, shoot. Yeah, we talked about this on Sunday. Sunday, the new moon showed. So we won't be here Sunday, but we here today, sis, and we're gonna be here tomorrow. Sunday, we're gonna take our break, right? Okay. I just had to double check. Make sure I won't tripping. The candle is right of the black foot. The black foot at the bottom. I'm looking at the wrong plate. I'm sorry. Right of the black foot. The big black foot. Look like you got a tennis shoe on with a foot inside the shoe. The candle. I see an eye. I see the cross swords. I see a feather. I see what looked like a whale at the top of the firmament. Girl, I'm gonna have to study this a little bit more. All right, we're gonna keep going. Tikva. Shalom, sis. You raw wonder. Shalom, shalom. Okay. Oh, snap. We're about to get to the Nubis chapter. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're coming up on that Begon God chapter again, too. I'm not sure how far we're going to get. The Chamber of Prophecy is coming up. Oh, yes. Okay, let me go back. Okay, yeah, so this is the same initiate from yesterday. We just had to pause. So this dude is still alive. And we realized yesterday, while he was going through some of the initiation, just to test his mettle and see if you are truly indeed a real prophet, we saw every single one of these tests in the New Testament with the character that was created over there. Like I I really feel some type now. The more I go on and understand some of these things, and I can clearly see it, the more I feel like we really, not that we not, but I'm just thinking of ways wisdom really just to kind of catch the ear of Christians who, like, when you say something about Jesus, don't I know what I heard? That's wrong. That's blasphemy, heresy. Nope. Paul told us about people like you, right? And they don't even listen. So I'm like, if we could just break their state of mind for a moment for them to pay attention. I'm really looking into this, right? I'm on a mission. At least just check into this guy you're worshiping. Not saying that there wasn't a guy who didn't exist. There was a guy who did exist, but he wasn't to be worshipped. Some of the things they said about this guy is completely off in the New Testament. Let's just look and compare, right? Just you ain't got to change what you believe. Let's just do proper. Let's just say you did your proper due diligence, right? And you just looked at everything concerning your God, right? What do other people think about your God? What has been written in history, or is more things that have been written by other people about the God I serve? Oh, or maybe you saying he a false deity, God, Lord God, what? I'll be nosy enough to go read it. Even if I go in, be like, this gonna be some crap. I already know it, but I'm gonna read it anyway because I'm nosy just to see, because I figure I can go in here and chop up they heresy, what they saying about who I worship, and I got further ammunition. But what they don't realize, it might really hook them. Like, wait a minute, hold on, let me rethink what I really believe. Let's see if I can test this, right? I would come read it and then I listen. Even if I didn't believe it, it at least would make me go back and go pray to my Jesus. Jesus, is this stuff they saying about you true? Did you read this blasphemy they wrote about you? Oh, they need the blood. I'm gonna pray for, like, at least come read it. It needs to get you thinking just a little bit. I'm thinking of ways how to get them just to even listen, right? But I realize you can't go in on the attack mode. Boom, let me tell you how your God is false. That ain't working for them. We're not gonna wake them up that way. We're not going to wake them up that way. All right, y'all. Look, Infinite Rising, Miss Amazing Wonders. Okay, so page 547. The next chapter is Port Pan Algonquin, the sacred people, Ehings or mound builders, readeth as follows. And so this is right to the top right side of the page is play 81, and it's Port Pan Algonquin, the sacred people, Ehings or mound builders. And this chart kind of looks like the one this plate looks kind of like the key tablet, but it has separations going through it here. And as soon as we get done today, I'm definitely going to let me get a little closer for Facebook. I'm definitely going to take a picture of these real quick and post them for the people who don't. But remember also, I be forgetting to post a link to it. There's an online version that also has very, very clear, sharp pictures of all of these tablets. Just go to any of the videos that I have in the description when I give it a whole big blurb every single day. Go in there all the way at the bottom, at the very last line of the big blurb. It's read Oahspe online. Click that link. Save it, y'all. Tabitha, shalom, shalom. Jamia, shalom, shalom. Okay, page 547. We're starting at Port Pan Algonquin, the sacred people, Ehings or mound builders. Readeth as follows. Which way, man, to the tree of life? I go thither also. Where then is thy treasure? Where then is thy treasure? I bring this picture and pot, a tame gout, and a dead man's skull. I have no more. And if you look over here, you can clearly see in the not the very bottom to the left, but the one above the very bottom, you can see all of that in that particular portion that's sectioned off. I bring this pitcher and pot, a tame gout, and a dead man's skull. I have no more. Cephas bows in thy favor. Hast thou slain any living creature? Nay, Ong Apa, Nang, I'm sorry, nay, Ong Agpa, but housed in a mountain high built and steep, I have slept my nights away in peace, slaying naught. Hast thou the Hogsa, the head compressed from infancy. Okay, so this is what they do to flat heads. They call it something different, right? Hast thou the hog Hagal saw, I think it's Hagal saw. Hast thou the Hagal saw, the head compressed from infancy? Hey son, you ready? Can you go look and find that other bag for Jalen? You know your bag that you have, the rolling bag? We're missing one. Where is that?
I only got one.
I know you want to have one. We're missing one. We're missing your dad's bag. Can you look in the garage and see and check both of those long tubs out there? See if we tossed it in there.
I got you. Do you have a bobby pin?
A bobby pin? You gotta go look in them two hair bags upstairs. They in my room. I didn't put them back. If you go in our closet to the left, look on the floor. Both of them huge hair bags is in there. They got all the everything for your hair. Verse 8, page 547. Hast thou the Hagasa, the head compressed from infancy? On my breast engraved the sign single standeth most honored of all I have. When I was a child, my head was thus compressed to school the judgment down beneath the prophetic sight. When I was a child, my head was thus compressed to school the judgment down beneath the prophetic sight. I have seen the S world and the angels of the dead. Hold up thine hand and show me too the leaf sign of Egoquim. Then the burning flame of sacrifice and monstrous serpents thou would rather feed than destroy. To engrave the sacred symbols in corpore, I was well educated. Behold, I write. He then displayeth his skull. Thy skill is excellent. Go thou to the southwest corner, and in the ark of the black hand thou shalt find a charm for venomous serpents. Bring it thither. Alas, O Anga, ask me any service but to deal in charms against anything. How sleepest thy father and thy mother, and thy wife and thy sons and daughters?
We're gonna have to buy one. And then this book is a lot for
That,
stuff.
that bags, y'all overlooking that bag. Okay,
Probably place it. It's probably in the warehouse.
it's not at the warehouse. It should not be at the warehouse. How sleepest thy father and thy mother, and thy wife and thy sons and daughters? On the mounds and in the mounds, O Anga. Hid are we all away from the devouring Hissa, serpent, and Ba and Meo, lions and tigers. And after Hissa is reference 24, and at the bottom it says Hissa. And it's just spelled different. Well, it's spelled, yeah, it's spelled differently. In the paragraph above is HISS-A. Down at the bottom is HISS-SA. And after lions and tigers is reference number 25. And down at the bottom it says, how was it with thy forefathers and foremothers in the mounds and on the mounds, O Anga? For 1,000 generations, my ancestors killed not any living creature Egoquim had created. Verse 16 in 1981 edition is verse 18 in 1882 edition. Okay, back up to verse 16 on page 547. What is yonder building in the northeast? The temple of Egoquim. What meaneth it? It is the sacred house of Dan, and after Dan, in parentheses, is Faithus. What are the signs? The all light hand teacheth mortals to ever reach upward. The cup that the firmament is filled by it. Hold on, let me go back. The all light hand teacheth mortal the all light hand teacheth mortals to ever reach upward. The cup that all the firmament is filled by the presence of Egoquim. Remember, Egoquim is another name for the Great Spirit that they used. Different uh, nations of people used. What is the sign of what is the sign of half a dog, of half a horse, and a man's head? That man is best, that man at its best is two beings, a beast and a spirit. What is the sign of the black hand and the black ankh, the slaying tool? Let me find that one. The black hand
It look like a Where's Waldo picture.
The black hand, the black ankh. The black hand and black ankh, the slaying tool. Oh, the black. It looked like an axe, really, a bigger axe head, but the axe head is kind of curved down a little bit, and they call it a slaying tool. Okay, but that's at the top to the right under the first one to the left. Okay. What is the sign of the black hand and the black ankh, the slaying tool? The mortal who slayeth the wolf and serpent hath a hard time in heaven. What is the hard time of the slaying man in heaven? In the firmament of heaven, he is haunted. The spirits of the slain come upon him. He findeth no place. With his black hand of death uplifted, he crieth out. What is the sign of Okion? Tent. And the sign of the black head of the Gii, eagle, and the black mouth with black tongue projecting. The tent? Let's find a tent. Blackhead, the eagle. Where's the eagle? Oh, it's like in the middle. Almost like in the middle. You will see the tent, the eagle head, no, the tent, the eagle, and the black, well, yeah, the black head of the, what is that? Oh, that's a man's head with the tongue projecting. Oh Lord, that's a man. I thought it was an eagle flying. That's a that's a man. That's the silhouette of a man's face right here. The picture is you see the bottom of the nose down, the tongue projecting out, and the eagle's head is beside. I thought it was the eagle flying with the wings spread. I had to look at it closely. Okay, but it's in the middle. All right. What is the sign of Okion? Nope. Go down. Yeah, that's right. Verse 28. What is the sign of Okion? Tent. And the sign of the black head of the Gii, eagle, and the black mouth with black tongue projecting? That all the earth must be subdued by man, even the blackness, slander that issueth out of man's mouth must also be subdued. What are the signs of the ear? The triangle and the square, the evil quarters, the wedge, and the vessel of copper. Alas, O Anga, I know not. What are the signs of the trumpet, the windlass, and the hewing axe, and the altar of fire? Alas, O Anga, I know not. What are the signs of the azaj, the stretcher, and the basket? Alas, O Anga, I know not. What is the sign of the men ascending the arug, the stairs, and lamp, and the trees, and the black fish? First there was an egg, and then a fish, and then trees, then men, and he saw the light and the sun. Then wisdom came, and he learnt of Egoquim even after. Thou art wise, and now, by virtue of my power and wisdom and love, do I crown thee, brother of the Hoanga, and in parentheses after Hoanga is prophets. Peace be with thee. Amen. Okay, so remember that chapter. Matter of fact, the video is called Hunger, Hunger, Hunger. We did it a couple weeks ago. But remember, we was reading about America. And in it, they were given all these long names. And then the Great Spirit was like, you know what, y'all wearing me with all these crazy long names. Just call them Hunger, Hunger Son, the third, the fourth. And from this point, they just name everybody Hunger, right? That's where the juniors and the juniors. I literally have a cousin who named his son. I mean, well, he didn't name him. That's his nickname. It's Junior Junior. Junior is the third because his father is senior. He's junior, and they call the third Junior. It's funny. Okay.
So he's the junior to the junior.
Yeah, he's the junior to the junior. They all got the same name. Okay, so in that video, in that chapter, when we was reading about that, we learned about Egoquim and was talking about how we just say those here in America, the Algonquins, how they use that. But they also use the name Geechee, right? And Egoquim was used in another place, right? But they're still talking about the Great Spirit. They got different names in their language, but they're still referring to the great creator, the creator of all things, right? Seen and unseen. Verse 37, page 548. First, there was an egg, and then a fish, and then trees, then men, and he saw the light and the sun. Then wisdom came, and he learned of Egoquim ever after. Thou art wise, and now, by virtue of my power and wisdom and love, do I crown thee, brother of the Hoanga prophets. Peace be with thee. Amen. He who taught thee all the other signs will now teach thee three thou knowest not. Hold on. He who taught thee all the other signs will now teach thee three thou knowest not. After which the Oi will invest thee with cloth and with the signs of Chagi, words of enchantment, that when thou travelest in far off lands, thou shalt be received as a brother. And in brackets, it has signs and passwords withheld from publication. So when this was being penned through John Newborough, right? All of this stuff, where all of this stuff has been redacted, all of this stuff was given there. Remember, same thing happened with Oahspe that's been happening with Torah, right? Some of these drawings and all this, the rites and ceremonies, all of this stuff is lost, burnt. They can't. At first, it was purposely withheld, but now, from what I understand, they can't even find any of it. Why? Probably the great creator. I'm almost certain now. Now, as we're going through this, I'm almost certain. Matter of fact, I want to say I'm 100%. Let me not say 100%. Let me say 99. I'm 99% certain, based on what I know and understand now. The Great Spirit allowed those things not to be published and lost, because what we're gonna do? Oh snap! That's what we're supposed to be doing. How we do that? We're gonna start practicing it, getting our focus off on growing, going back doing older rites and ceremonies and some things that should have been left there. But this is giving us understanding of what was happening. Not that we should pick up those practices, but understand where we came from to understand where we're going and why things are the way they are now, right? Okay. Staff and spiritual light, shock, shalom, shalom, Yahweh, shalom.
Plus, we got to deal with the vagabonds, not the vagabonds of the system, because we cool with the vagabonds of this system and this what they got going on here, but we're talking about the vagabonds themselves.
Yeah, true. And people just take that's how all these different doctrines got. You got the Masons using some of this stuff, but they walking around here with the aprons and symbols and no power. Like, what y'all doing? Y'all just needed to belong to something. You just needed a club, right? No disrespect for y'all that really take it seriously, but I'm just saying you lack the power. It's an empty, today it is. It's an empty rite and ceremony that y'all going through, right? They
If I
let me leave y'all alone.
I would have used it in the house, but outside the house, I'm not gonna use it unless I accidentally slip up. But that's not gonna happen.
Well, your wisdom should be interwoven in every fabric and part of your life. And you just like walking. It's not really something to be hid. Just walk in it, right? You ain't got to, you're developing wisdom as you grow, son. Listen, okay. We are at the chapter Anubis, right? And we read this a couple weeks ago as well, because what we were reading before, it told us to go to the Anubis chapter, and I wasn't going to read it, but we end up reading it. So if this sounds familiar, it's because it is. We've read it. Okay. And so plate 8, matter of fact, I took a picture of plate. I don't even think it's been a month, not even a month ago, because I took a picture of this. You can scroll through the community section and see when I posted plate 82. Plate 82 is Anubis, right? One of the plates, if you study Egyptology or if it was a part of your life at some point, or even now today, you're familiar with that, right? Okay. Anubis, Old Egyptian. See plate 82, which I just showed y'all. The haunted chamber. Antechamber examination omitted. Second part in the dark chamber, to wit. Mars, alias death. What is this noise and confusion? Who comes here to disturb our haven of rest? Jupiter, alias, Aces, a leader. Hark, I heard a voice. And after voice is reference number 26. And down at the bottom, it says for 26, it is true. This place is haunted. Say thou. Okay, I'm going to read two over. Jupiter, alias, Aces, a leader. Hark, I heard a voice. Say thou, spirit or angel, speak. Who art thou? Master, I am death. All who enter here must die. Are you prepared? Oh no, is this what? Master? Maybe M. What is J? Jupiter. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Is this Mars or Jupiter? Okay, so we got M. You know what? So I don't mix them up. I'm gonna just read it. Hold on. Mars. Then it has Mercury. Oh, okay. So verse 1 is Mars, alias death. And under that in verse 3, it is also Mars, and it says, I am death, all who enter here must die. Are ye prepared? The very next verse in 4 is Mercury. And I think from there after, M is for Mercury. That's what it looked like. Okay, we're just gonna go. All right. Let me start it over. Antechamber examination omitted. Second part in the dark chamber, to wit, Mars, alias death. What is this noise and confusion? Who comes here to disturb our haven of rest? Jupiter, alias Aces, a leader. Hark, I heard a voice. Say thou, spirit or angel, speak. Who art thou? M, I am death. All who enter here must die. Are ye prepared? Mercury, alias Soul, heavy. Hark, what fearful words. M, silence. J, alas, O death, spare us. Command us as thou wilt, but slay us not. M, impious mortals, know ye that this place is consecrated to the spirits of the dead? All who enter here must die. Mer, we implore thee, O death, is there no respite? M, over your heads I hold the two-edged sword. Fear ye and tremble when I command. J, alas, O death, we and all mortals fear thee. What shall we do? M, there is one respite. Sit ye at my feet in token of your submission to a higher power than mortals. The initiates, sit down. Bid ye there till I call my fellow god life. Ye shall know your doom. All hail, O life, hither, hither. Mortal intruders have profaned our sacred chamber. Come thou and deal with them, that I may receive their souls. Son, alias Dan, a light. Hail, O death, I come. Mighty art thou, O death. Were it not for thee, mortals would esteem themselves gods. Take me, brother, to them. M. M conducts S to another part of the chamber. S. Mortals, for what purpose are ye here? Speak to me. I am life. Pity us, O life. We are friends to the spirits of the dead. We have come hither to unite ourselves in common brotherhood, especially to improve ourselves in spirit communion. Deal thou mercifully with us, and we will be faithful and true. S. On one condition only can I save you from death's hand. I have here scales on which I weigh mortals, and by your words shall ye be weighed, for all words manifest the spirit within. If, therefore, ye repeat after me the words I utter, ye shall live. But if ye do not so utter them, ye shall be handed over to death. Neither will I utter aught but what all good men and true may utter. Hold on. Neither will I utter aught but what all good men and true may utter. I still read it wrong. Neither will I utter aught but what all good men and true may utter. My words after me. Okay, let me start verse 14 over. Verse 14, page 548. Essentially, what he's saying is, I ain't gonna say nothing wrong, but only those true can repeat the words after me. If you don't repeat them, death is coming for you. All right, listen. S. On one condition only can I save you from death's hand. I have here scales on which I weigh mortals, and by your words ye shall be weighed. For all words manifest the spirit within. If therefore ye repeat after me the words I utter, ye shall live. But if ye do not so utter them, ye shall be handed over to death. Neither will I utter aught but what all good men and true may utter, my words after me. J. Speak, O life, we will repeat after thee. Mer, we will repeat after thee. Venus, alias Duji, we will utter thy words. Ceres, alias Hyestra, speak, O life, thy words shall be ours. Many of the stars repeat expressions in like manner, the initiates being previously named as some star. S. My friends, repeat your own names and then these words. The initiates give their names. Of my own free will, in the presence of these spirits immortals, do I covenant that I will forever keep and never reveal any of the secrets or mysteries I may receive within this chamber, that I will accept as my brethren all who are here and all who have been heretofore initiated or may be hereafter initiated as fully and entirely as if they were my own blood and kin. That I will not from this time forth utter one slanderous word against these my brethren, nor against any man, nor woman, nor child belonging to them or that is dependent on them, that I will protect their honor and virtue and love as sacredly as I would my own mother, that I will from this time forth engage myself in some useful employment and from excess of my wages contribute to the relief and assistance of any of the brethren who may be helpless or distressed. So keep me, thou who makest and rulest over all. Make me steadfast to keep this, my solemn covenant, and I will bind myself under no less a penalty than to forfeit all spirit presence, both in this world and the next, and the good fellowship of all men, if I should fail to keep this, my holy covenant. By the pillars of the castle, I swear, and by the sun, and by Uz, and in brackets after Uz is Osiris, and by the sacred wheel, and by the angle of Gal, yea, by Elohim. S. My friends, you have been weighed, and the scales bear to you favor. And the scales bear to your favor. You shall live. What more desire ye? All light, the ceremony so far being in the dark. And if you a Mason or if you're familiar with what the Masons do, they kind of walk through a ceremony like this before they even enter into the light, right? Which is part of the reason I'm sure why I've seen some recently just by Google. I'm like, yo, they got windows in their building. But for a very long time, I had not seen any kind of Masonic lodge with windows whatsoever. It's always like this brick warehouse, no windows anywhere. I'm like, why don't they have windows? And now I kind of understand the ceremonies that they hold, right? I mean, they ain't come out with any source of light for real. It's just not really an understanding of previous ceremonies and rituals that were done where they actually received spirit power, right? And now it's just part of the boys club. Let's just call it. It's a boys club. And they got a girls club too. Eastern Stars, whatever. If that offends you, it is what it is. That is true. Listen, verse 20, page 548. S, my friends, you have been weighed, and the scales bear to your favor. You shall live. What more desire ye? All light, the ceremony so far being in the dark. S, let my servants make a light. The servants march about, but make no light. First servant, alas, O master, we cannot make a light. The oil will not burn. The lamps are cold. S, in this emergency, what shall be done? Second servant, alas, O master, we know not. S, let this be a lesson to both spirits and mortals. For as I do now, so in all great trials do ye also. Aside, hither, O brother God, hither, O my brother. M, here, O life, I come, walking to a different corner. S, my attendants cannot make a light. The oil will not burn. The lamps are cold. What shall be done? M, let us supplicate him who is greater than life and death. S, it is well. M and S together. O thou almighty, everlasting creator of life and master of death, give us light. Give us light, O Father. S, let my servants try once more. The servants now make a light. The initiates behold their strange apparel, which was put on them in the dark. M, behold, O mortals, by the light of heaven, man hath risen above the beasts of the field and fowls of the air. But for the light of Uz, Osiris, your heads would have this day be as your hoods. With his sword he knocks off the head covering. Be as beasts no more, but men and women. In token of your fidelity to the covenant, drink ye of this nectar of life, because they were saved from death. So clearly, at least from some of my studying, you know how in ancient Egypt they wear like heads of dogs and just the different animals, the ibis and stuff like that. They never get to the point where they overcome the beastly nature, or at least maybe in my studies up until this point, I haven't seen. I'm not saying it's not there. Maybe it is, but most of the time when we see the hieroglyphs and everything, they still got this head regalia on. Like when is somebody knocking it off so we can see you standing upright as a man, right? So clearly y'all still caught up in some of these animalistic ways, right? But the hieroglyphs tell different stories and stuff, right? Okay, that's just my observance. Verse 33. I read 33. M, behold, O mortals, by the light of heaven, man hath risen above the beasts of the field and fowls of the air. But for the light of Uz, Osiris, your heads would have this day been as your hoods. With his sword he knocks off the head covering. Be as beasts no more, but men and women. In token of your fidelity to the covenant, drink ye of this nectar of life, because they were saved from death. The cup is then passed from one to another, and all drink of it. In the Algonquin tribes of America, the ceremony was the same, save that the pipe was smoked instead of the drink. And to this day, it is practiced by them as a pledge of peace and brotherhood. Verse 34, S, making the proper sign, which is withheld from publication, and taking the hand of one of the initiates, arise, O my brother, from the haunted chamber. I salute thee in the name of, and it has in brackets, withheld from publication. Verse 35, M, as ye are now raised up on earth, so shall ye be raised in heaven, where it is represented by the spirits of the second heavens, are scales to weigh the spirits of mortals recently dead. And read that again. Verse 35, page 549. M, as ye are now raised up on earth, so shall ye be raised in heaven, where it is represented by the spirits of the second heavens, are scales to weigh the spirits of mortals recently dead. And he who presideth over the scales in heaven was called, alas me. How shall I repeat his name? Let him who conducted you hither answer me. Who is the God of the scales in heaven? Fourth servant, I cannot so answer, master. S, knowest thou? Fourth servant, I am wise. S, what wilt thou? Fourth servant, and what he said was withheld from publication. And when Anubis appeareth, the master saith, all words sprung from the fullness of the spirit within. Be exact in observing your covenant and guarded in your words toward all men. For as ye were here weighed by your words, so shall ye be both in this world and the next. The S and M now bestow the passwords and signs here withheld from publication. M, thus endeth your initiation, and may the cross of the will of the Great Spirit be the center of your action, and the angle of your behavior toward all men. Amen. I love that. Listen, so I'm going to read that again. After they went through these little initiations and the test to test and see if they were truly righteous, right? Verse 41, thus endeth your initiation, and may the cross of the will of the Great Spirit be the center of your action and the angle of your behavior toward all men. Amen. All respond, amen. Verse 42, first initiate. Why this is just the brotherhood we desired. Second initiate, just what we set out to accomplish. Third initiate, and better done than we could have done it. Remember then this lesson, that in all good works inclining to brotherhood, especially that which inclineth to spirit communion, mortals are ever assisted and guided by wise spirits of noble aspirations. Manner of dismissal withheld from publication out of respect to existing societies. Okay, I ain't gonna argue about this. Let's go to the next the next book. Hold on. Go get you some sleep, Stephen. He said, oh, I'm fading. Eyes getting dim. I have to watch this later when I get up. About to be out. I'll be in a chat cave later. Love to the chat. Be blessed in the name of Ormaz. Yes, the greatest light entity, of which we are the smaller light entities. Right? Okay, go get you some sleep. By now, I realize you work the night shift. Go get your sleep on, bruh. Okay, page 550. Agoquim, alias Egoquim. Agoquim said, these are my divisions for the 12 feasts of the gods of heaven. Observe ye them in my name, for they are my inheritance, bestowed to enrich the wisdom of men. All labor is mine, saith Agoquim. By my hand moveth all that is. Remember, Agoquim is another name for the Great Spirit, right? Okay. I just want to make sure ain't nobody getting tripped up. All labor is mine, saith Agoquim. By my hand moveth all that is. Hold on. Plates 83. I think, yeah, this definitely goes with this chapter of Agoquim. Plate 83. Bible of the Mound Builders. Read from left to right, beginning at the top. Okay. Right here. All right.
Beautiful.
Hey, babe.
What's up? What's up?
You
I am.
always. You ready? You ready?
You baby?
See, we ain't even. Okay, let me start over. Agoquim said, these are my divisions for the 12 feasts of the gods of heaven. Observe ye them in my name, for they are my inheritance, bestowed to enrich the wisdom of men. All labor is mine, saith Agoquim. By my hand moveth all that is. The earth is my footstool, and I have made it square to the north and south, east and west. We read that in the Bible, right? I believe it's in Psalms. Wasn't it Psalms? I think it's in Psalms. The earth is my footstool, and own the cattle on 1,000 hills. Okay. The earth is my footstool, and I have made it square to the north and south, east and west. Three things made I: air, earth, and water. The angle with three sides made I in remembrance thereof. Oh, the triangle: air, earth, and water. Oh, okay. That's what the triangle represents: air, earth, and water. Look, clearly, when I read this before, I even drew it. I have remember what I read. That's why we got to read through this whole book a couple times to make sure things like sink in. That's how I started realizing things was wrong with the Bible, by just constantly reading it over and over and over. Right? I used to read it through every 90 days. I would do like 11 chapters a day, from Genesis all the way to Revelation, right? And I did that for like a year, reading through the entire Bible every 90 days, right? And it was then that I realized, hold up, I was getting, wait a minute, hold on. Wait, what? I never saw that before. So we're going to go through this a couple times, y'all, right? Okay. The earth is my footstool, and I have made it square to the north and south, east and west. Three things made I: air, earth, and water. The angle with three sides made I in remembrance thereof. Three things bestowed I on man: the earth body, which is dark, and none can see through it. I remember this now. Okay. I just underlined a couple things. I should have highlighted all of it. Okay. Three things made I: air, earth, and water. The angle with three sides made I in remembrance thereof. Three things bestowed I on man: the earth body, which is dark, and none can see through it; the spirit which liveth after the earth body is dead. The third part I gave to man is the soul, which joineth him to me. The sun I made, and I set him high in the firmament, that I might see from afar, and behold my earth-born children. And the lakes and forests and rivers and the caves in the earth made I for man. All that I have made is good, and round or square, according to the place I made for it. But in the very young days of the world, the impatience of men led them to perceive not me and my good works, and they set about to do my labor. Thus came evil into the world, but I separated the evil from the good. Into the four corners of the world separated I them. I gave to the evil I gave to the evil where all is coldness and hunger, where they have invented the evil killing bow and the flint dart, destroying my living creatures. My righteous shall live in mounds of earth and stone and wood, where the uga, serpent and tiger and all other evil devouring beasts cannot come upon them. We call these houses now, right? For the light of my angels to come and abide with, I'm sorry, but for the light of my angels to come and abide with my people, ye shall provide the Huga Doa. Ye shall provide the Huga Doa, a well covered house, and it shall have but one door, and pieces shall be put therein, so that when my chosen are within, all shall be dark, and my angels may teach them. But the dwelling of the Shawasi, the prophet, shall have one on G window. I like this. Okay, so let me go back a little bit. Let me go back to 8. Let me go back to 7. But in the very young days of the world, the impatience of men led them to perceive not me and my good works, and they set about to do my labor. Thus came evil into the world, but I separated the evil from good. Into the four corners of the world separated I them. I gave to the evil where all is coldness and hunger, where they have invented the evil killing bow and the flint dart, destroying my living creatures. My righteous shall live in mounds of the earth, and stone and wood, where the uga, serpent and tiger, and all other evil devouring beasts cannot come upon them. But for the light of my angels to come and abide with my people, ye shall provide the Hugadoa, the well covered house, and it shall have but one door, and pieces shall be put therein, so that when my chosen are within, all shall be dark, that my angels may teach them. But the dwelling of the Shawasi, the prophet, shall have one on G window, and he shall have a Mukagawan, the true sign of poverty, and it shall be his jewel made of copper and gold. And after jewel is letter P. And the back of the book of Safa, letter P says, the jewels were made illustrative of the gods. From one god to another were 4 moons. The sacred words belonging to each and every god for the month were repeated during that month. Whilst the words were being repeated in concert, the sacred people trotted or danced around the top of the mound, clapping their hands at every step. These ceremonies were often nightly and never less than once for each quarter of the moon. On the following month, the next verse, to other gods of another month, was repeated in like manner. After the extinction of the mound builders, the worshippers of Egoquim, i.e., Elohim or Elohim, the succeeding people, the Indians, kept up the dance. And even to this day, some of the tribes have preserved the whole 12 dances and general spirit of the invocations. However, they are also slayers of the Uga and of one another. 1882 edition. Okay, so go back to verse 11 on page 550. Let's go to 10. But the dwelling of the Hun Shawasi, the prophet, shall have one G window, and he shall have a Muka Gowan, the true sign of poverty, and it shall be his jewel, made of copper and gold. For whom I have made to live in poverty in this world, will I exalt in heaven. Only the poor have I made to be my prophets. Over the mounds, my angels shall keep watch against the evil approaching Uga, and they shall awaken my sleeping children, and they shall not suffer. Ogokum said, boats have I provided for the spirits of good men to rise to heaven in, and my angels shall accompany them to a place of light and rest. Ogokum said, to the priests have I given authority to make my signs and symbols and to bestow them on my righteous children. All right. So the next chapter, we also read this. This is the Begon God chapter. We're going to read it again. And then after this, we're going to pause and we'll pick up with Emeth Hava. Brotherhood of Faith is with modern God, substituted in the place of the ancients tomorrow morning. Okay. So Begon God chapter, remember it has 54 verses. And it's a whole dissertation. Well, it's a conversation. Let's say a conversation going back and forth between a few different people. Okay. Begon God. Okay. So remember the tablet of Begon God is plate 84. And you can see that on page 551 right here. All right. So you can refer back and forth. You see the animals in it, the crescent, wolf, lion, tiger, they look like a greyhound dog.
Mom,
Bear.
Mom,
Yes, babe.
I can end the video.
Yes, you can. Huh.
Mom, will
All
you
right.
be done?
I will be done in about
3 minutes?
let's say 15 minutes. I got 54 verses to read and we're gonna be done. And we already at the hour mark, but I want to go ahead and read Begon God. Matter of fact, when we read this before, as a reference, I put the Begon God in the title for that video. Okay, Begon God, alias Begon God. And then it has reference letter Q. So let's go to the end of the chapter. And Q says, these rites and ceremonies, according to the tablets relating to the solar phalanx, must have been about 15,000 years before Cosmon and located in Eastern Asia and Africa. There are philosophers of today who hold that in national affairs, might is right. 1882 edition. Okay, go back to page 550. Begon God said, I go forth. All who follow me are of me. By will only is anything accomplished. That which I desire, I do. Without me, nothing is done. My name is might. Right. Right. What we just read. Some people still hold to the saying, might is right. If we can't get it done, well, shucks, might gonna get it done. My strength, we gonna push our way through here. We're gonna get it done. Might is right. That's not necessarily the case. Okay. Begon God said, I go forth. All who follow me are of me. By will only is anything accomplished. That which I desire, I do. Without me, nothing is done. My name is Mike. And for the rest of this, when you see BGG, that's just Begon God shortened. Okay. Begon God said, fear is failure. I am without fear. I am the all S, incorporated on the low earth, having no fear. The all S gave forth, having no fear. By this created he the creation. Like a lion goeth he forth. The sun is under his feet, so is the broad earth. Whatever liveth or is dead, inanimate objects, fleeth before his breath. Even death cometh and goeth by his command. And you can clearly see in the picture the sun and the world, everything is under the feet of the king of the jungle, of the lion. And that is the biggest animal in all this picture, with the exception of the landmass, but the landmass is under his feet. And the sun is also under the feet of the mighty king of the jungle. Like a lion, he goeth forth. The sun is under his feet. So is the broad earth. Whatever liveth or is dead, inanimate objects, fleeth before his breath. Even death cometh and goeth by his command. But God said, Go forth, my sons and daughters, multiply, fearing naught. Inasmuch as ye do these things, so will I exalt you. Inasmuch as ye do not these things, I will bind and enslave. So we know this ain't the real, because anybody of the creator do not bind and we do not enslave, right? We'll allow you to choose. Your choices may bind you and enslave you, but the creator will do no such thing. But God said, Go forth, my sons and daughters, multiplying, fear not. Inasmuch as ye do these things, so will I exalt you. Inasmuch as ye do not these things, I will bind and enslave. But God said, Think not I choose a weak man or a coward to be king. I choose only the valiant that fear not. Think not that I exalt the weak in heaven and make them gods over mortals. I choose the slayer of men and the death dealing. Right now, we know this ain't the creator speaking, because it's complete opposite of what the creator gives, which is life to all men, which includes women and children as well, right? At this part of the service, the initiates march before the throne. Begone, God, who dareth my power? Down on your bellies and crawl like serpents before my throne. Down and speak, I command. First initiate, by Rooks, I swear, I will not down. Second initiate, by him who standeth above the sun, I will not down. Third initiate, nor though thou drinkest my blood, similar ejaculations from other initiates. Begone, God. Then must I from my throne of skulls descend to raise the seat another row. Bring here my battle axe to servant. The axe is bought, and the master clothed in a lion's skin, with a serpent's skin coiled about his head, descendeth from the throne, and seizing the battle axe, falleth upon the initiates who have been previously drilled. During the ceremony, some of the initiates are killed outright. Ooh, you want to be a part of this? You got to go through the Begon God test. You might die. But the true prophets have no fear, right? Listen. Begone, God. Then must I from my throne of skulls descend to raise the seat another row. Bring here my battle axe. He said, Bring here my battle axe to servant. The axe is bought, and the master clothed in a lion's skin, with the serpent's skin coiled about his head, descendeth from the throne, and seizing the battle axe, falleth upon the initiates who have been previously drilled. During the ceremonies, some of the initiates are killed outright, generally not intentionally. A cellar is underneath, and over this the boards are made to trip. The master knoweth this, and the initiates, not knowing it, hath the advantage. The fray of skill lasteth about an hour, during which the initiates are mostly sent below. Begone, God. Haut, Haut. With God's I fought, and God's here is GHAD. With God's I fought, with God's I am king and brother. Come forth, fallen foes, and live triumphantly. With brothers like these, I will go forth and gather skulls to build another temple. The servants help all that are alive out of the cellar, and if they are well and strong, they are spared. But if they are maimed bodily, they are slain with the battle axe. All that thus fail to take the first degree have their skulls scraped and added to the throne or judgment seat. Whew. Love you too, son. Be safe. I hope you ain't texting and driving. Tabitha, see how the Creator calls his people to live a simple lifestyle. Don't let the rulers of this world term us as first world and third world country. The earth belongs to Eowa. Right. Listen, let's go back to this skull scraping. Woo! The servants help all that are alive out of the cellar, and if they are well and strong, they are spared. But if they are maimed bodily, they are slain with the battle axe. All that thus fail to take the first degree have their skulls scraped and added to the throne or judgment seat. During the ceremonies, and along with the initiates, are two or more who had been previously initiated, and these, of course, are spared. First initiate, to thee and none else, I swear everlastingly, thine be forever the place of skulls, Uxa or Golgotha. Right? We hear about Golgotha in the Bible. Y'all, this stuff Oahspe talking about is all there. We just been interpreting it the wrong way, right? Begun, verse 12. Begun God. Know then, ye iota skulls, I am descended from Begon God, the all spirit of light and power. By him incarnate in me, virgin of the corporal world, my blood is fed by the souls of men. In the days before the flood of waters, my sire built a temple 100 guin square. With skulls built he it and feasted on their souls, upraising in the firmament above the sun, companion of the stars. And so after my sire built a temple 100 guin square, after square is reference letter R on page 572. R says, allowing a skull to be 6 by 8 inches, the inside and outside walls of a building, as described herein, would require 8,000 skulls. Yeah, and so we'll go to this, right? Play 86 on page 553, the sectional view of the Golgotha temple, 11,000 years before Cosmon, the place of Golgotha, the place of skulls. This is what they was talking about in the Bible, the place of skulls. Let me get closer so you can see. If you get really close, this for those who don't have the book, but what that is, it looked like a bunch of circles with dots, a couple dots. Well, that's the faces, it's the skulls, the sunken in eyes and nose and mouth part. Those are 8,000, over 8,000 skulls. Right? All right. Hold on, make sure it ain't blurry for YouTube. Y'all see it? Okay. And that's on page 553. That's plate 86, sectional view of Golgotha Temple, 11,000 years before Cosmon. Remember, the Cosmon era began in 1882? Don't quote me. Hold on, let me go to the beginning. I didn't say it. I think 1881, 1882. Y'all remember, type it in. When did the Cosmon era begin? Was it I think it was 1882. Yeah. Yes, babe. 1848. Sorry. Thank you. Ray Tickler, thank you. 1848 is when the Cosmon era began. Okay. Let's go back. Let me read verse 12 over again. Begon God. Know then, ye iota gods, I am descended. Okay, let me say that. Okay. Ye iota, IOD apostrophe A. Iota is another name for God, right? Because God is in parentheses, is God's in parentheses after iota. So when you see iota, thank God, right? Not the creator, but once human beings, right? Because only once human beings get the term God, and they just pass from the flesh to the spiritual realm, and they grew to a certain level, and they can take that position. Okay. Verse 12. Begon God, know then, ye iota gods, I am descended from Begon God, and the all spirit of light and power. By him incarnate in me am I, virgin of the corporal world. My blood is fed by the souls of men. In the days before the flood of waters, my sire built a temple 100 guin square. With skulls built he it, and feasted on their souls, uprising in the firmament above the sun, companion of the stars. On the spirits of mortals slain, his spirit feasted full of rich strength till all the world bowed down and called him master. Right? So we also remember that city where they did this same thing. They hung the bodies and skulls on stakes, and the spirits of those people who died in chaos, they couldn't rise because of the state of their flesh body. And that's why all that, what church terms demonic activity, was going on in that region, because this place of skulls in this particular city. So when they came through, the real prophet, I think it was Zarathustra, if I remember correctly, don't quote me, but I think it was either Zarathustra or Fragapati. But they tore that down, and it said the spirits of those dead whose body was found there, they rejoiced to see that city burnt to the ground, right? Because their bodies no longer hung up, because it kept them attached to the earth, because their flesh had happened, because they defiled their flesh, right? And they just kind of hung it out, didn't give it a proper burial, right? And that's when it went into bodies should be either buried or burnt, right? Okay. Page 552. Oruk, Oruhk. The choristers from behind concealed. All hail, O master, man and chief of blood. We come from the abode of flying wolves and lions and bears, upraised in the Oahspe sky, rocks that feed the black earth, the thrones of mighty gods. Great Bagan God called us forth, for the clay of thy battle axe shook the stars, saying, down, down, O ye gods, to me, Mother Earth. My holy begotten Son, King of men, doth feed his throne with dead men's skulls. Behold, O King of men, these thy valiant fighters from their birth are reared as brother gods. O slay them not, but teach them that he who would rule in heaven must begin on earth and send his neighbors bellowing down to the dust. Bring them before the altar, smoking in their blood, and on the ark, a chest which containeth incense, let them mingle in covenant with the everlasting Son. The marshals now conduct them before the altar, whence they cast down their battle axes, and they join hands encircling the ark. Okay, so plate 85 is a temple. It's the distant view of the temple of Bagan God in Gahate, 11,000 years before Cosmon. And you can see this dude sitting on the top of the temple. You look at the top, the dude sitting up there, like sitting Indian style, or in meditation, lotus pose. All right, that's for Facebook, YouTube. Okay. From the east, west, north, and south, the high priests come forth out of recesses in the walls of the temple, and the priests in twos and fours bear torches and approach the altar and the ark, chanting for the glory of Bagan God, the all-powerful creator of heaven and earth. We know you lying. You lying. We know that ain't the real. The master and all the initiates take of their blood, which issueth from their wounds, and mingle it together, and lick with their tongues the co-mingled blood, singing. Y'all got to remember when we did this. Matter of fact, this is the video. It clearly got Bagan God, right? This is the one where the video is a red background with black, it's like black splattered in it, and I'm standing there like, and it's like, eat flesh, drink blood. That's in that whole little thumbnail up there. This is that video. I remember this now. I remember that day now when we read this the first time, because we started talking about JC and this whole blood thing, right? This is unsanitary, y'all. Listen, y'all got to really think about what they're teaching you to do in the church. Eat my flesh and drink my blood, G, in remembrance of me. That's cannibalism. There are so many things medically wrong with this. We don't even for play act like we're doing something disgusting as this, right? Look, because first of all, faith is the creator's true sons and daughters. We're plant-based, right? We don't kill. In order to drink blood and eat flesh, you got to have killed something, right? And neither do we murder. We don't harm anything that has the breath of the living creator flowing through its body, right? No, So many questions that people just don't answer. We're gonna go with it. Yeah, every first Sunday we drinking blood and eating flesh. I mean, we ain't doing it for real. We just acting like it. But like that's okay. It's not okay. Listen, I love this Begon God book. Listen. From the east, west, north, and south, the high priests come forth out of recesses in the walls of the temple, and the priests in twos and fours bear torches and approach the altar and the ark, chanting for the glory of Begon God, the all powerful creator of heaven and earth. The master and the initiates take of their blood, which issueth from their wounds, and mingle it together and lick with their tongues the commingled blood, saying, drink ye it in remembrance of me. And here's what Christianity and the New Testament left off: in remembrance of me, Begon God. Y'all doing this, y'all change the name to JC, but y'all really, this is where this whole the eat flesh and drinking blood originated at, with this false god, Begon God. Remember? Listen. The master and the initiates take of their blood, which issueth from their wounds, and mingle it together, and lick with their tongues the commingled blood, saying, drink ye it in remembrance of me and of Begon God, my sire, the creator, doing all things for his glory. Yo, Maji, listen. Ugh. Listen. Let me just keep going. And now come the Ahada, bringing forth strips of flesh. Ooh, think about this. This his flesh. Let me keep reading. Let me see if y'all figure this out. Look. And now come the Ahada, bringing forth strips of flesh from the thighs of those who were slain in the ceremonies, and they bring to them the master, and they bring them to the master, and he putteth the strips of flesh under his own thigh, and all the initiates put their hand under his thigh also. Israel was doing this, right? Put your hand under your thigh. That's a whole little sacred thing that they do. Put your hand under your thigh. You didn't just remove the bloody flesh and strips of skin from somebody that you didn't just killed, right? But we ain't doing that no more. We just rites and ceremonies. We're not really doing that anymore. We just acting like we're doing this, right? Keeping to it. First of all, if y'all had been given, look, Key. First of all, hey girl, hey, say it again. Listen, listen. Some of y'all may not be to this point, but some of you may be. After really going through this, and even as I transition from Christianity to my Hebrew roots and everything, and I begin, listen, you don't think about this till you actually begin practicing. So actually beginning to hear what I'm saying. If you're searching for the creator will allow you to do trial and error, right? Okay, go ahead and practice some ceremonies. So as we began to practice the ceremony and keeping Passover according to way Torah said it, right, and eating a little bit of the lamb. Yes, babe.
I'm hungry.
Everybody's going to eat before we roll out of here, okay? If you're starving, grab you some vortexing current over here
What?
in the form of an
I
apple.
like fruit.
Boy, get out of here.
Can I at least get food? I do not like fruit.
I will fix y'all something in a minute. Back up. I'm almost done. For real. I'm almost done. Listen, going through, right? And mind you, I'm like, Father, I'm worshiping you. I want to do this right. We'll keep Passover the right way. But as I went plant-based, right? Mind you, I had before I transitioned to the Hebrew roots, just because of my health, I had already went plant-based, right? So I had dropped meat anyway. So, but when Passover came out, oh, we got to eat a little bit of the lamb. Okay, well, I want to make sure I keep this right. But even I was seasoning it up and stuff. About this time, I'm just like, okay, Father, just help me. No, I think this Jalen's. I'm like, okay, it command us to eat. It's Jalen's. But if you go outside and you look in the freezer out there, all the way at the top, all the way in the back, I got a pack of Reese's here. Listen. So I'm just like, oh, We supposed to be eating it. So I talked to my uncle, and because his whole family's about plant-based, right? So I'm like, okay, because they had been doing Passover for years. They had, because they moved a little faster than I did. I'm like, okay, so let me ask you a question, Unc. When it gets to the whole lamb part, what y'all do? He said, well, I just don't eat it. I'm like, you can do that? Like, clearly we can do that. But I had never thought of just like not eating it. I'm just thinking, Father, I want to be obedient. So I ain't gonna eat a lot, and because I haven't eaten meat in years. So I just to be obedient to what I thought at that moment was the truth. I just took a little slice of it and I ate it, and that was it. I'm like, I've partaken of my piece of lamb, right? But I just told you to go get it. Yes, you can have it. How about you sit over here at the table before? Because if you go flashing it to everybody, I'm gonna make you hand out a cup to everybody. It will. Then I'm gonna make you cut them in half to make sure all 8 kids in this house can get a piece of that. So go sit down over there. Don't be loud with your candy wrapper. Listen. Okay, do whatever you want to do, right? Don't come crying to me. Listen. So I'm just like, there's something wrong with this, because we're supposed to be plant-based, but I'm not seeing where this is coming in. But all of this was happening when I was going through this whole thing where the sacrifices wouldn't leave me alone. I'm like, something wrong with these sacrifices. I don't know it yet, but something is wrong about this. And all of this was happening. All it was like beat me up at the same time. It literally would not let me sleep. So I'm like, I really got to look into this. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. We ain't supposed to be eating at all. I was like, wait, it's just like killing a dog. Then it's like, don't sacrifice nobody. The righteous dying for the wicked is an abomination. I'm like, what? Wait, what? So I'm going through this whole phase, all this stuff, phases, slowly waking up to all these things, looking more and more, finding more and more stuff, putting all this stuff together. Listen. So as you wake up, there's a lot of these things that you were doing that you thought you were doing righteously. It's really considered an abomination, and it is disgusting acts. They are disgusting acts. I don't care how long and who you love, who've been preaching this about the blood of JC and drinking flesh and eating blood. I don't care if it's wafers and grape juice. Some of y'all taking shots of red wine, or however you do it. Just stop it all. Stop it all. That's a rite and ceremony that should have been dead. It should be dead right now. It should be dead. Burn it all up. Just like, oh Lord, oh Father, thy Torah is burnt. Burn up communion and everything about the blood. And some people ain't gonna like that because that's all they know. But we've been trying to figure out a way to help y'all really see what's really going on here, right? We got to remove the blindness. Why are you gonna shoot me? I don't have enough for everybody, right? Close it up. That's not even mine down there. No, you can't. I'm gonna just tell everybody no. No. I know he got one because I told him he could have one. Right? Just go do something with yourself. You can't. No. There are no more. Okay, let's go back and read this, right? I really want y'all to think about this, all you blood lovers. Think about this. We will be leaving in about 2 hours, son. Bye. Okay, listen. The master and the initiates take of their blood, which issueth from their wounds, and mingle it together, and lick with their tongues the commingled blood, saying, Drink ye it in remembrance of me and of Begon God. That's what I said the first time. They remove Begon and put God, but they didn't spell it G-H-A-D. This was through everybody in Christian world law. It was like, let's use the play on words. We'll put G-O-D. Do this in remembrance of me and God. Nope. My G, it's Begon God. This is a filthy ceremony. Look. The master and the initiates take of their blood, which issueth from their wounds, and mingle it together, and lick with their tongues the commingled blood, saying, Drink ye it in remembrance of me and of Begon God, my sire, the creator, doing all things for his glory. And now come the Ahada, bringing forth strips of flesh from the thighs of those who were slain in the ceremonies, and they bring them to the master, and he putteth the strips of flesh under his own thigh, And all the initiates put their hands under his thigh also, for this is swearing an oath by the thigh. And they say, I put my hand under this thigh, and I am sworn. Ugh. Therefore, the master taketh the strips of flesh and eateth thereof. This is where the whole yes, take it from they that they just they going
just grab the thigh and be like, I swear to you.
no, that's what they doing now. Imagine you put your hand under my thigh, we're gonna make this. So no, let's talk about the origination of this. Because had you been living back in the day, somebody would have had just that. This bloody strips of skin off his nasty thigh. Probably been sweating, all kinds of sweat dripping down from dark places. They took it, the bodies who was going through this initiation, took a slice, a piece of this thigh off of here, go give it to the king. Here you go. Here's your pound of flesh. Oh, put your hand under there with it, my G. This is disgusting in the highest. Hey, girl, hey. Look. And now, think about this. Do this in remembrance of me. Drink my blood and eat my flesh. This is what's happening in the New Testament, right? Look, tickle, dripping down from dark places. I wanted to be a little bit I didn't want to be too vulgar, but you know, these were men. Think about the dark places above their thigh. That's what I was talking about. Look, let me go back. The master, this is like my 40th time reading this. The master and the initiates take of their blood, which is issued from their wounds, and mingle it together and lick with their tongues the commingled blood, saying, drink ye it in remembrance of me and of Bagan God, my sire, the creator, doing all things for his glory. And now come the Ahada, bringing forth strips of flesh from the thighs of those who were slain in the ceremonies, and they bring them to the master, and he putteth the strips of flesh under his own thigh, and all the initiates put their hands under his thigh also, for this is swearing an oath by the thigh. And they say, I put my hand under this thigh, and I am sworn. Thereupon the master taketh the strips of flesh and eateth thereof, and handed it to the initiate, saying, listen, lovers of Jesus Christ. This is the flesh of my body. Eat ye of it in remembrance of me. And God, look, not God, but God. We're gonna Constantine, they removed it. Take away Begon God, spell God G-O-D, not G-H-A-D, because they might get on to us. Listen. Ugh. This is the flesh of my body. Eat ye of it in remembrance of me and of Begon God. For in my blood and flesh, hold on. This is the flesh of my body. Eat ye of it in remembrance of me and of Begon God. For in my blood and the flesh of my body have I established the Isa al Guahoy, the church militant. That's what Isa al Guahoy, I probably said that wrong. The church militant. That's why all these jokes, think about what flesh do. It make you angry, make you hype, ready to fight somebody. Your liver is dirty, right? It told us, if you want to create warriors, give them flesh to eat. Christians is eating flesh of men, fish, bulls, and goats. Some of them eating pigs and saying the Father them blessed it. We can eat anything just because we under grace and not the law is every as thou wilt in Christianity, right? You're making church militants by practicing this disgusting rite of communion. You label it pretty communion, right? But you ain't communicate with nobody but the spirits of the dead in the third heaven, which y'all gonna find yourself a part of that kingdom. That's what Jesus coming to pick you up and take you to. Yeah, he gonna wrap you all right. He gonna wrap you right back down. All y'all belly so full of meat and blood, you ain't gonna be able to rise in spirit. So the heaven you thought you was gonna go to gonna really look similar to earth. Yeah, booty meat, loin meat, animal sandwiches, flesh juice. Oh, listen. Let me go back. Can I read this one more time? Read this one more time. Just for good measure. Just in case somebody just came in. We lost a few people. They probably the ones eating animal sandwiches and doing communion every first Sunday. Maybe they'll come back. Listen, the master and the initiates take of their blood, which issueth from their wounds, and mingle it together, and lick with their tongues the commingled blood, saying, Drink ye it in remembrance of me and of Bagan God, my sire, the creator, doing all things for his glory. And now come the Ahada, bringing forth strips of flesh from the thighs of those who were slain in the ceremonies, and they bring them to the master, and he putteth the strips of flesh under his own thigh, and all the initiates put their hands under his thigh also, for this is the swearing and oath by the thigh. And they say, I put my hand under this thigh, for I am sworn. Thereupon the master taketh the strips of flesh and eateth thereof, and handeth of it to the initiate, saying, This is the flesh of my body. Eat ye of it in remembrance of me and of Bagan God. For in my blood and the flesh of my body have I established the Isa al Guahoy church militant over all the world. Thereupon the initiates take the flesh and eat thereof. Verse 14, Cohen, the chief priest. On this tablet write ye your names in blood, and by these bones and skulls swear ye. Initiates. On the tablet write we our names in blood, and by these bones and skulls we swear. Well, I don't have any more to give. I just told y'all that. Well, Dad gonna have to take you to get you some, because I have no more. Cohen and initiates, those don't belong to me. Those are Jalen's. You can go ask Jalen if you can have that.
She's gone.
She ain't pulled away yet. I think her and her mama standing on the porch. And now, hold on, I went up too far. Verse 16, page 552. Cohen and initiates together to keep sacred the oath under the thigh, to preserve the holy words of the feast of flesh and blood for coming generations, that the light and glory of Bagan God, the Creator, may shine forever. Amen.
You're not here.
Okay, then they probably left and went to Starbucks real quick. The women now come forward having cloth about the loins, and they bring the dead men and place their bodies on the altar of sacrifice, which hath been previously heaped up with dry wood. And when the fire is lighted, the Magan, or the women, march around the altar of fire, singing and clapping hands. Presently there appeareth in the smoke and the foul smell of the burnt flesh the Oahspe, evil spirits, so that many can behold them, and they eat of the smoke and of the foul smell, which are the food of the spirits of darkness. And when they have feasted satisfactorily, they take of the smoke and of the foul smell, and carry them away to Hada, to their companions, of whom their number is endless. Yes, definitely a bunch of dark rituals going on that they do not understand, right? Thank you, Father, for opening our eyes. Help us to open the eyes of our brothers and our sisters. Verse 17, Master, Hayuta, behold, my sire appeareth in a cloud of smoke and fire. Bow down your heads, Magana, the women, and invoke his mighty power. Coena, the high priest. O thou almighty Bagan God, creator of heaven and earth, appear. Appear, thou that slayest and feastest thereon. Appear. Presently, okay. Set apart said, sweet smelling Savior, my behind. I know, right? Listen, I ain't telling y'all to go back and reread the Bible, but I'm telling you, after we read Oahspe, go back and reread the Bible now with all the understanding and revelation that you have, right? Because once I get done, I mean, I still be going in it, going certain things. Psalms and Proverbs, they still work good, but you got to be really careful on who's speaking. Now I can recognize a whole lot of things that I didn't recognize. I knew something was wrong about it, but I can pinpoint a lot of things. I can identify the ceremonies that are going on in Old and New Testament. But go back and look through it now with different eyes and the understanding of all this stuff, right? I think the second time, as we develop, I'm gonna bring in. I'll probably start comparing, like when we get to certain things. Like the second time through, we may take a little bit longer reading through it, just because now I have understanding of a little bit of understanding. Mind you, I'm just like in my fifth month, but there's so much that I learned in these last 5 months just reading through Oahspe, being able to pick apart my years. I'm 43 years old. My years, my I say 30 something plus years of strictly studying the Bible, Torah, rituals, all that stuff. Now it's like, yo, we finding the kinks in the armor and why certain things don't work like clockwork, like we think it should work in a church, right? Right. Healings and things that it's like it's hit and miss. I'm understanding why we got these hit and misses going on. We even got Christians wondering, okay, so why don't the name Jesus work all the time? It works sometimes. Well, first of all, let's identify who's answering you, right? Because they will answer you. The spirits will answer you. They will answer your prayers. Matter of fact, if you're praying to a deity, Jesus, whoever, it's that deity who's answering your prayer. And the creator will sit back and watch all of it, right? Because you have to learn it yourself and what's happening. Some things you think, oh, thank you, Jesus. Jesus, they answered. Or Jesus saved me from this. Right? Because you profitable to his kingdom for the time being to keep others enslaved with your shenanigans and foolery, believing falsities and all of this, right? So, okay, I can see how you can see that the Lord answered your prayer. Yeah, the Lord answered your prayer. It ain't the creator. And even some things good you get here and there, right? We'll get this for them. We'll answer that because later down the line we're gonna need to use them. And then you find yourself in the bind, Jesus, why you ain't show up? Somebody in the past away. I didn't pray. Why it didn't work this time? With the creator, shouldn't it be like clockwork? It should be like clockwork every time. There should be no guessing, wondering, right? These are lessons. These are things to grab your attention to make you start asking questions and looking into stuff, right? But nobody's doing that because you've been fooled that you need a middleman. You need the middleman to do everything. You need to go pray, let them take over the wheel, and you just go back twiddling your thumbs, doing whatever thou shalt will, whatever, right? And you find yourself in the same place, stunted in growth, spiritual dwarfs, 20 years in the church, don't even know more than my 5-year-old daughter. Spiritually now. Spiritually. And that's a shame. That's really a shame. And you should be asking questions, right? All this time, you might need to be questioned with Jesus. Well, why? Why? Okay, well, Jesus, you ain't answering. We're going to go to one higher than you. But Christianity teaches you ain't nobody higher than Jesus because Jesus is God. God is Jesus. We all in one here. So if you don't get answers from him, then it must be saying wait. And you're stunted and you still don't do nothing. You sit on your lazy butt and don't look any further because ultimate authority, Jesus said nothing. So apparently it must not be time. And then you die in that state and you're going to wake up lifting your eyes up and holler. Okay, almost done, y'all. Literally. Page 554. Presently, the chief of Oahspe maketh a light in the midst of the black smoke, showing a face of fire, and it is a man's face, but the body he showeth is dark, and the form of a lion. And now the people march around about within the temple, beating together their battle axes and spears of wood, and clapping their hands, singing the while. The master revealeth himself in the lion's skin, and ascendeth his throne of skulls, and he is no longer called master, but begone God. Begone God. As my sire reigneth in heaven, so reign I on the earth. Initiates. Hail, Holy Father, begone God. Hail, Holy Son, begone God. See, there you go. Here the foolishness, the Father and the Son. Here what the Trinity started. Y'all better be paying attention. Listen. Hail, Holy Father, begone God. Hail, Holy Son, begone God. Begone God, I command the earth. Initiates, the Son commanded the earth. Begone God, I command the mighty waters. Initiates, the Son commanded the mighty waters. Here's the same process of indoctrination. Y'all so thick. Shalom. Here's this process of indoctrination, repeating lies over and over again, right? When you say they get you to the mindset that the Father is the Son is the Father, right? Just by rote. We just gonna repeat it till it sink in and they just think it's a part of them, right? Better be paying attention, y'all so fit, right? Listen. Initiates, hail, Holy Father, begone God. Hail, Holy Son, begone God. Begone God, I command the earth. Initiates, the Son commandeth the earth. Begone God, I command the mighty waters. Initiates, the Son commandeth the mighty waters. Begone God, I command the air above the earth. Initiates, the Son commandeth the air above the earth. Begone God, these are mine to keep forever. Initiates, these are the sons to keep forever. Begone God, I am the holy Isa Gauhoi, church militant. Initiates, the son is the holy Isa Al Guhoi. Begone God. Hey y'all. Hey, who is that screaming? Jabria. Stop it. Initiates, the son is the holy Isa Gauhoi.
They was sitting on the
Your dad is sitting right there. Go let your dad know. Begone God. My holy labor is to subdue nations and tribes of men. Initiates. The son's labor is to subdue nations and tribes of men, right? The son. I'm not just coming, but I'm coming to bring a sword between the father and the son, the mother and the daughter, coming to tear your house apart, right? And Christians look at that the wrong way, right? Coming to bring a sword, and they think, man, looking at this now, based on what I understand now by reading through this and just really looking at stuff, the Christians look at everything backwards from the wrong perspective, right? When they should be looking at it this way. We should be bringing a sword, right? Cutting up all this false doctrine that you've been stuck in. But they think when people come to rip you away from Jesus, that we're the Antichrist, right? That's the sword and all this stuff. It's called, look, the talking about Jesus, some Christians call it, oh, they manifesting demons, they manifesting. I'm like, bro, y'all just y'all are not getting it. Y'all are not getting it, right? Listen, because anything about Jesus bad about him, you manifesting demons. Don't even come talk to me. You is what New Testament was talking about. We're gonna pray for your soul, right? Or give you up to Satan. I'm just like, boy, Father, how do we help them in this state? Let's see, verse 32. No, 31. Begone God. My holy labor is to subdue nations and tribes of men. Initiates. The son's labor is to subdue nations and tribes of men. Begone God. I make treaties or break them when I will. Initiates. The son maketh or breaketh treaties when he will. Begone God. For all things on the earth are mine. Initiates. For all things on the earth are his. Begone God. I am immaculate and can do no wrong. Initiates. The son is immaculate and cannot do wrong. Begone God. Right and wrong must be judged by me. Initiates. Right and wrong must be judged by the Son. Begone God. By my will do I make wrong right or right wrong. Initiates. By the Son's will maketh he wrong right or right wrong. Begone God. I am the holy standard. Initiates. The Son is the holy standard. Begone God. I cannot err. I and my Father are one. Initiates. The Son cannot err. The Son and the Father are one. Initiates. I'm sorry. No, verse 47. Begone God. I now demand 1,000 skulls. Initiates. The Son demandeth 1,000 skulls. Begone God. Begone God demandeth 1,000 skulls. Initiates. Begone God shall have 1,000 skulls. Begone God. Begone God demandeth a pool of human blood for his son's silver boat. Initiates. Begone God shall have a pool of human blood for his son's silver boat. Christianity has been the bloodiest, aside from Islam, but it was first and foremost the bloodiest religion, right? The bloodiest. Not just drinking it, but slaughtering people for the cause of Christ. Something wrong with this, y'all. Begone God, verse 51. Begone God demandeth a pool of human blood for his son's silver boat. Initiates. Begone God shall have a pool of human blood for his son's silver boat. Begone God. Go forth, my brother Iota, gods, and bring the skulls and the blood, for this is the time of the sacred solemn feast. Initiates. We will forth and bring 1,000 skulls and the blood for our king. All hail, mighty King of men, all hail. The master now riseth to his feet with his battle axe outstretched menacingly. The initiates upraise their axes and spears menacingly also, and walking backward, depart out of the temple. And that is the end of the Begone God book. Yeah, right. We're gonna get. Look, I'm so excited to get to that part here, Tabitha. Right? Remember, Tabitha is Keon Cooper. She said Joshua and Oahspe never spoke about coming to bring a sword, right? Joshua is the real person, right? Is the real person who lived, right? And it should be who the New Testament it should have clarified that a little bit more, but it didn't. Constantine had their own little thing going on and what they wanted to do, and they've accomplished what they wanted to do, subdue nations and everything through Christianity, and they're still doing this. They're going to places bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ. They're literally coming in to subdue this nation, its people, and its resources with the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? When the gospel has reached all four corners of the earth, then the end shall come. This is a bunch of garbage. And I know it sounds like blasphemy to Christian ears, but stick a little while longer and let's test all things. Those things that we can test and we know to test and we understand how to test, we're gonna test, right? All right, beautiful people. So that is it for today. We out of here. Bella! Okay, so y'all, it is Friday, September the 2nd, 2022, day 202 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1220. We read page 546 in Oahspe all the way to page 554. And tomorrow we'll pick up where we left off at. All right, beautiful people. With that being said, we are out of here. Our background will be different tomorrow. We will be broadcasting live from vacation. Still, same time, weekend, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love y'all. Wait a minute. I forgot. I need to do a word of praise. Yeah, well, that's kind of selfish, but still. It got to be just about the creator.
We're fine.
Father, we thank you that you are not bloodthirsty and you require no man's blood. All right, y'all. So that's it for today. I love y'all. Vanessa says, Bella, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. I love y'all. I will see y'all back here tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. It definitely does take a while to
I can't end
cleanse
it yet.
the spirit, right? It takes a while. I love y'all. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow. All right, girl, go ahead and end it. Peace. All right. All right. We need to end it too. Baby, I'm still out. I'm ending this. You're moving too slow, girl. Gloria, shalom. You are all wonder. Shalom.